Welcome to Biology 110, Principles of Biology. I am your instructor for this course. You can find my information on the right side of the course, but you might have to press this arrow. Let me get rid of it. You might have to press this arrow to find that information, but I'm Tracy Emmons. Here's how you email me. Here's my office phone and office address and office hours. And I also do office hours virtually by appointment, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 9 to 5. The only day I don't make appointments for virtual office hours is Tuesday right now, because on Tuesday I have a morning lab and I have an afternoon lab, and that pretty much takes up the entire day. So if you have any questions, or you need help with an assignment that you're working on, reach out to me. I would recommend that the first thing you try is email. I'm usually pretty good about getting right back to my students. But let's go back to the course. I'll get rid of that. Let's go back to the course, and you see in this first step it'll tell you some things to do. It tells you that we use an online textbook. You can read that online, you can download it to your device, or you can buy a copy in the bookstore. Buying the copy is not required, but the textbook is required. So you decide whether you want to do it electronically or if you want a hard copy. You don't have to buy a lab manual or a lab kit for this course, but there will be some items, and there's a list in the first block that you'll need to have in order to complete your labs. So let's look at this first block. Here's announcements. This is where your welcome message will be, and this will be where I share information that I think is important for you guys to know. You need to check this often. Please check it on Moodle and or in your student email. When I post an announcement, it automatically goes to your student email. Here's your syllabus. You'll want to open that and read it. Course learning objectives, take a look at those. This is your schedule of assignments, and it looks like this, and I bring it up so that I can show you that we work on a Tuesday, Friday assignment due date pattern where we can. So I try to have things due just on Tuesdays and Fridays, but because that I do that, sometimes you'll have more than one thing due on Friday, January the 13th in this specific example. Actually, on the first Friday of the course, you have 4 things due. Now, the mandatory orientation quiz and the introductory quiz are both just introductory things, and they don't take that long to do. Go ahead and do those ASAP. Don't wait until Friday at 11 p.m. to start those, because if you do, then you're going to run into trouble getting these assignments completed as well. For this virus forum, there's a lesson that you have to go through first, so you definitely want to start that before Friday evening. So basically, these due dates are just the dates that they're due. It's recommended that you be working consistently on Bio 110 throughout the week. We are a science course, therefore we're actually 2 courses combined into one. You have lab content and you have lecture content, so you might want to start looking at and treating this class as if it were 2 classes. Here's resources supplied by Sandhills. Here's a student coffee house for y'all to chat with one another. Here's where I'll do virtual office hours, and eventually at the end of the semester this course evaluation link will be active. Alright, so here's your orientation quiz. This just establishes your attendance in the class. It's just a couple of questions and there's nothing to study for. So go ahead and just jump on that and do that and get it out of the way to make sure you don't accidentally forget. I don't know if you noticed, but that folder was closed. When the arrow is pointing to the right, it's closed. And when I click on it and it points down, it opens the folder. You'll need to open the folders in our course in order to find the assignments. You've obviously found the introduction folder. You're watching the introduction video, and when you get finished, you'll take this introduction quiz. And then you'll have your 2 mandatory assignments that are due this Friday, the first Friday of the semester, out of the way. We're going to look at a typical module to kind of give you an idea of how the information flows in this class. So let me open that folder. You have a summary of the module. You have the objectives of the module and how they relate back to the overall course objectives. In pink or red, you have the items that you will need to have on hand to complete the lab in this module. And that reminds me, right here, materials you will need to obtain for the lab. That's a list of all the materials that you'll need. So in this first week of the semester, I think I'd go ahead and take a look at that. And if there's anything that you don't already have in your home, you'll want to go ahead and grab that. All right, let me scroll back down. But for each individual module, I also write the things that you need for the lab in pink in the block. This block always shows whether the folder's open or closed. The due dates are also listed up there. So you always start with content. In our Bio 110, there'll be a reading assignment, and that's in our online biology book. Then there's a notes document. You can print it and complete it as you go through the lesson, or you can complete it electronically as you go through the lesson. But it's meant to go along with this Module 1 lesson. Module 1 lesson gives you your content. This particular lesson goes over characteristics of life, classification of living things, Linnaean classification, modern Linnaean classification, binomial nomenclature, classification, and the scientific method. You'll just read the page of the lesson and then click next and go to the next page. When you've read that and recorded things in your notes, you'll go to the next page. And then periodically there'll be questions to answer as you go through a lesson. You have to go all the way to the end to complete a lesson, and you have to complete the lesson or lessons if there's more than one in a unit in order to do the graded assignment. You also get a grade for completing your lessons. Once that's done, if you want to, here's video lectures that go along with the lesson. They're about specific topics, and they're made by various instructors in our bio department. This one does the characteristics of life and the process of science or the scientific method. So those are the two topics that we have lecture videos about. And why would it be those two topics? It's because we have found that they're the ones that people have the most questions about. So we did video lectures about those topics. Step 2, graded assignments. After you've read, completed the lesson, and taken notes, you're ready to work on the discussion forum. And when your Module 1 lesson is marked complete, you'll be able to click on this. After your Module 1 lesson is marked complete, you'll also be able to click on and begin working on the first lab. You have to work on this lab in order to understand the directions for this forum. So information and directions are found within the lab that guide you to what you post in Lab 1 Forum 1 and Lab 1 Forum 2. So for this first module, get in there and complete the lesson. Go ahead and take a look at your discussion forum and be formulating an answer for that. And then jump on this lab. Click on it. It's also in the lesson format, so you'll just go through it. And as you go through it, you'll be given directions about how to complete the 2 assignments associated with that lab. If there's any additional resources, they'll be down here. And this is how to make a graph in Excel, because you'll be needing to make a graph and submit it for Lab 1 Forum 2. So that's a typical module layout. If you notice, that one didn't have a quiz anywhere. Some modules have quizzes, others don't. Module 2 is an example of a module that has a quiz. So here's your introduction to the unit, objectives, what you need for the lab, and due dates. And just like in the first one, here's your content: reading, notes, lesson, and then optional lecture videos if you want to take a look at them. Your graded assignments: you have a lab called cellular macromolecules. You have a homework assignment, properties of water and pH. It's an activity. And then you have the Module 2 test. So those are your graded assignments for this particular unit. Under additional resources, since there's a test in this module, you have a study guide underneath there. You can complete the study guide to help you study for the test, but you do not have to. That's why it's under additional resources. We have time to look at one more module. So summary, objectives, what you need for lab, due dates, reading assignments. Now this one's chapter 3 plus 2 sections from chapter 6, and these are links that go directly to those sections in your book. So just click on them. Excuse me, just click on them to get to that information. Here's your notes. Now here's an example of a module that has 2 lessons. One's the cell and one's the cell cycle. You have to complete both of those in order to go on to the graded assignments. Here's your lecture videos, and I'll say one more time, those are optional. Take a look at them if you want to / need to. So you have a writing assignment in your graded assignments. It's called the Substitute Biology Teacher. You have a cell transport homework. You have a cell transport lab and a forum that goes with that lab. And then a microscope and mitosis lab. So module 3 is a little bit busier than module 1 or 2, and because you have more things due in this particular module, we allow more time for this module. Additional resources, you work with a potato in the cell transport lab, and here's a video that shows you some typical results for that lab in case you have questions. Here's a diffusion demonstration and osmosis lab. Another lab video to kind of show you what you're supposed to be doing. Sometimes people like to see what they need to do, especially with these labs. So that's the general layout of all our modules, and they each follow that pattern. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then once you finish 10, it's possible that you're finished for the semester, or it may be that you're not finished. You have optional assignments down here. The optional comprehensive final exam, you take that if you need to replace a test grade from one of the modules, or the organism report from module 7. So this test replaces a missing test grade from the modules listed or the organism report that's in module 7. The optional the optional lab report replacement, if you missed a lab, you can complete this document, answer all the questions on it, and upload it, and it will replace a missing lab grade. And this one is the optional homework replacement, same thing. You just open it up. It says complete all the questions and upload the document to replace a low or missing homework grade. So you click on this, you complete all the questions on it, and you upload it by the due date, and I'll use it to replace the homework assignment that you tell me needs to be replaced. One last thing, let's go all the way back to the top. I'm sorry to make you dizzy. Participants, this will show you the different people in our class if you'd like to have a comprehensive list of that. And this is where you go to look at your grades. And then let me move this over just a little bit. This is like a menu, a course index. If you click on that, it lets you jump all the way down to module 10 without having to scroll. And then if you wanted to go back to module 6, you could use that index. It's usually hidden unless you click on this icon, and that opens it. So again, you've got the course index on the left, and then you've got course information on the right. I hope that answers questions that you might have. If you still have questions, please send me an email, and I wish you the best of luck in this course.